Once again, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for making time. Welcome to KTN Prime. I'm Jesse Rogers. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Meresha Owiti. Now we begin with a nation in mourning and a government under fire. It has been 12 days since Tanzania's controversial election, marked not by celebration, but by bloodshed, silence, and fear. As President Samia Suluhu Hassan was sworn in with a staggering 97.66% of the vote, the streets outside turned into battlegrounds. Hundreds are reported dead, others facing treason charges. Amidst all this, 2 Kenyan families are still searching for answers. This is not just a political crisis, it is a humanitarian one. And tonight, we ask, who will be held accountable? Vera Mora with the details.
Since October 29, 2025, when Tanzanians went to the polls in a highly contested general election, the country has been gripped by a wave of violence and repression. The tension was immediate. Protests erupted across the country, met not with dialogue but with bullets. A crackdown that has left hundreds dead. Among the dead is John Okoth Ogutu, a 33-year-old Kenyan teacher who had spent 8 years in Tanzania, dedicating his life to education. On 31st October, he was shot, not in a war zone, not in a crime, but by police dispersing protesters who dared to question the legitimacy of the election. His body was reportedly taken to a morgue, but now, 12 days later, there is no body, no closure, just silence. According to Amnesty International, concern this week has shifted from the estimated Tanzanian protesters' deaths and injuries to the conditions of about 20,000 Kenyans, including teachers, entrepreneurs, healthcare workers, hoteliers, traders, bankers, engineers, and students living and working in Tanzania.
We stayed in the cells for 8 nights.
Kenyans like Frederick Obuya, a Kenyan who traveled to Tanzania to celebrate his birthday and invest in tourism, claims he was arrested by police without explanation while en route to Zanzibar on October 29th.
It's crowded. There's a 13-year-old, there's a 16-year-old. There is no water in the cell. The toilets are stinking. You step on the floor and it's sticky. Ni kama uji, ni kama unakanyaga uji. That is where you're supposed to sleep. There are bed bugs. You can literally see bed bugs. Everything is in chaos.
Additionally, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and former president of Botswana Seretse Ian Khama have emphasized the urgent need to liberate Africa from leadership marked by selfishness, brutality, intolerance, and dictatorship.
African leaders must stop treating protesters as criminals.
Rather than investigate the killings, the Tanzanian government has chosen to escalate. A court has charged at least 240 people with treason, accusing them of inciting protests to obstruct the election. If convicted, they face the death penalty, a chilling message to anyone who dares to dissent.
Napenda kuwashukuru sana.
The silence from the Tanzanian government has been deafening as the streets of Dar es Salaam, Mwanza, and Morogoro become battlegrounds, not for power, but for the right to be heard. Meanwhile, over 40 African organizations have condemned the violence and demanded accountability. They are calling for the prosecution of security officials involved in the killings. Today, the streets of Dar es Salaam are quieter, but not peaceful. The silence is not calm. It is the hush of fear. It is the sound of a nation holding its breath. Human rights group cry out. Families mourn. But the cries echo into a void, and still, the government remains unmoved. Vera Mora, KTN.
Well, we're closely following the developments happening in